Hello everybody, I'm Doug Proffitt. First tonight here on the WHAS11 night team, an Oldham County teacher has died after a shooting that happened on the campus of a Washington, D.C. university. D.C. police say 25-year-old Maxwell Emerson, right here from Crestwood, Kentucky, died at the hospital after the shooting at about 8 this morning. The Oldham County School District confirms to us that Emerson is a social studies teacher and assistant wrestling coach at Oldham County High School. Police say the shooting happened on the campus of Catholic University in Northeast D.C. Although the school says Emerson was not affiliated with the university and that there was no danger ever to the school today. The city's acting police chief there in D.C. talking about the suspect at a news conference this afternoon.
The investigation so far suggests that the victim and suspect were known to each other, and it appears that whatever transpired between two individuals that knew each other.
In a statement, Catholic University says they're working with police to determine what happened and, quote, "We ask that you pray for the victim who died and law enforcement who are determining what occurred." Emerson was one of 17 people shot in Washington, D.C. in just the past 2 days. It was part of a violent 4th of July holiday weekend across the country. 17 mass shootings were reported in cities including Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Shreveport, Louisiana. 18 people were killed and more than 100 others were injured. Here in Louisville, a community group is turning to you and your ideas to help stop the city's gun violence. Among them, the wife of Tommy Elliott, speaking publicly for the first time today since her husband was shot and killed at Old National Bank.
My experience with gun violence started on April 10th when 4 bullet holes ripped through my husband's body. But I know that I have to do something. I just don't know exactly what that is, because unfortunately I'm not unique. I'm not special. I'm not different in that. We have all too much of it.
Tommy Elliott was a senior vice president at Old National, one of the 5 bank employees killed April 10th. 8 others also hurt that day. Marianne Elliott shared her pain to urge the public to join the Curbing Gun Violence competition. With help from donors, the Crescent Hill Community Council is offering a $4,000 prize to the person who submits the best new idea or a new twist on an old one to curb gun violence in our community.
We have to do something to end gun violence now, so we're asking for your help. There isn't necessarily one solution, but the best solution is when we all come together and exchange these ideas, no matter where you live in our community, to say enough is enough. We are going to put an end to gun violence.
You can submit an idea through October 4th. We've got the rules posted on our website, WHAS11.com. New tonight, a middle schooler in Nelson County is doing something he may not have done without the quick thinking of the people around him. He's talking to us tonight about how his life was saved. WHAS 11 night team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie tell us how the quick moves by coaches and a trainer paid off with an important device they want others to understand.
This is where a near tragedy happened on June 20th, the football field at Old Kentucky Home Middle School.
Very blessed that I get to see everybody and I get to live the rest of my life as best as possible.
Carson Dickey, a baseball player, was trying out for football for the first time when he collapsed.
Well, I remember standing up, looking down and looking at him and thinking, I can't believe, we've been out here 10 minutes and we got a 13-year-old boy laying on the ground that's possibly dead.
It's a call that no parent wants to receive.
I was thinking, God's gonna take my baby today and I'm not ready. He's too young. I can't, a parent should never have to go through that with their child.
The coaches were performing CPR and called an athletic trainer at the nearby high school. She ran with an automated external defibrillator, or AED, and did everything the defibrillator told her to do.
Immediately pulled the shirt up, got the pads on, and then just let the machine do the work. Just let it tell us we need an administer shock, clear the body, press the button.
After detecting a pulse, EMS arrives and Carson remained in Norton Children's Hospital, sedated for a week. He doesn't remember that day, but he does recall hearing his parents' voices while intubated.
It felt like a dream. It didn't feel real at all, but sadly it was.
Carson had been diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome while in the hospital. His parents say it was their faith and prayers that got them by.
Knowing that there were so many kind and loving people that adore him and love him, that we're praying for him.
Yeah.
And every time they walk on this field, they say this is a miracle they will never forget, but they hope other schools take heed to the main message and always have an AED on site for any life-threatening emergencies. Now standing on the field where it all happened, the coaches are happy to still have Carson with them.
Just relieved that he's okay.
Just glad he's okay.
And glad that we know what's wrong with him so that he can live a good life.
And hopefully he can still play football.
Yeah.
Because he looks like a good football player.
Yeah.
It was an emotional experience for everyone, including his best friend who witnessed it all.
I wanted to be out there with him, and I couldn't because they wanted to keep me away to do what they needed to do to keep him from passing.
Carson feels appreciated.
Thank you for being there for me and being as caring as they were and as quick as they were.
Now he and his family and coaches all hope everyone else gets AED training to help save other lives. In Bardstown, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
So thankful for Carson tonight, and take a look right there. There's the AED. A new law passed by the Kentucky legislature now requires schools to have AEDs at every practice and competition. It also requires all coaches to be trained in CPR and on the use of the AEDs. Tonight, after an extensive search in Glendale, Kentucky, a missing man was found dead near the Nolin River. Search and rescue teams say 37-year-old Brian Henderson disappeared in the area on Saturday while canoeing. When they found him, he was in Valley Creek. Emergency crews said after the storms we saw last week, one after another, the river water was rough and high.
You know, the river, always use caution on the river. Always, if you can, wear safety life vest, safety vest, and be with someone that's experienced on this river.
Because the river was so high, crews could not search in the water until today. An update for you. The warehouse that caught fire and turned into a major blaze in the Smoketown neighborhood nearly a month ago is now demolished. The warehouse at Jackson and Caldwell Street now looks like this, a pile of bricks after catching fire on June 12th. Smoke was seen for miles across the city and in southern Indiana. Wayside Christian Mission, which owned the building, used it for storage. Wayside officials say they lost everything in the building and they're asking for the public's help to restore the inventory. If you would like to donate, we've got a link on our website at WHAS11.com. A recent U.S. Supreme Court decision that sided with a Colorado wedding website designer who did not want to serve same-sex couples now has the Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron calling on Louisville's mayor to drop a similar case here. Louisville photographer Chelsea Nelson sued the city in 2019 over its fairness ordinance, saying it violates her First Amendment rights. Nelson said the ordinance would force her to photograph weddings for same-sex couples, something she says is against her religion. Last August, a federal judge ruled in her favor, but the city and former mayor Greg Fisher said they would appeal that decision and did so. The case is ongoing. Today, Attorney General Daniel Cameron wrote a letter to Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg asking him to drop the case. In the letter, Cameron says that the recent Supreme Court ruling nullifies this case and, quote, Nelson has the right to her conscience and cannot be compelled to speak against it. In an email to WHAS 11 News, Mayor Craig Greenberg said they will continue to defend the fairness ordinance, saying the ordinance ensures every member of our diverse city is treated with respect and dignity. Brand new here on the night team tonight, Brownsboro Road is next up for a major redesign. Similar plans have been implemented along Frankfort Avenue and Bardstown Road. Now, the proposed right sizing, as it's called, will begin at Melwood Avenue on Brownsboro Road and then move to the east to Chenoweth Lane in St. Matthews. WHAS 11 Night Team's Connor Steffen and photojournalist Ian Hardwitt show us what the new plans will look like and how businesses are reacting.
Brownsboro Road, one of Louisville's oldest roadways, a rush hour favorite for hundreds of drivers looking to escape the interstates.
It can feel like you're playing Frogger in a way, it's pretty congested.
For the traffic it carries, it's not the widest state highway around, and now it's heading for a facelift. The project spans more than 3 miles, most of which happens right here on Brownsboro Road, starting at Melwood Avenue, ending all the way down at Chenoweth. This is just the latest of many different repaving projects Louisville is collaborating with KYTC on this year. Called the Right Sizing Project, it's essentially a downsizing. These 4 lanes you see right here just before Chenoweth will be taken down to 2 by the fall, making room for a turn and bike lane. The point of narrowing the roads is to slow down traffic, making it safer for drivers.
It does seem like this street's a little tough to maneuver. You know, I see people, been several accidents right on this road here.
The stretch of road outside Rick Bartlett's cafe will see similar changes. He sees the upside in safety. Barber Brendan Johnson understands how some see congestion.
I think it's mainly just because it is a thoroughfare from the St. Matthews area to downtown, vice versa. It's pretty busy.
A small caveat for some stretches of street, more parking.
That's a huge relief. Not that there's not street parking around, but having parking right out in front is nice when you don't have a parking lot.
Ask both these business owners we talked to.
I mean, if you lose a little bit, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
That's kind of where, yeah, it's not coming to stay, it's coming to pass.
Before plans are finalized, the community will have its chance to weigh in. That will take place Thursday. In Clifton Heights, Connor Steffen, the WHAS 1119 on your side.
More road work, part of our lives around Kentuckiana for sure. Tomorrow night at 5:30, by the way, we want to let you know the public meeting will be held where they'll lay out the plans. It's going to be held at the St. Joseph's Children's Home on Brownsboro Road. You can also review the plans by heading to our website, WHAS11.com.